I'm looking forward to that one for the skills alone. But I want to see Declan and Trent who wins this one, because I know there's a lot of ribbing whoever wins that.
Here we go then. As you said, this time round it will be obviously the professional footballer against the professional footballer. It will be Trent Alexander-Arnold up against Declan Rice. Gentlemen, off your phones now. It's game time for the grand final. And from the outlook on that, come to you, Mike, about the two teams. An interesting choice. He's gone for informed Kyle Walker at the back as Declan Rice. You know, a lot of people, you know, your modern day pro would happily go for a Maldini or Vieira at the back. Of course, these professional footballers might not have that sort of insight or that knowledge about Vieira being able to do a job in at centre back. What do you make of the two teams? Again, you know, we had a discussion. We saw Trent's team in that previous matchup and said that sort of head to head in the team wise, it looked like Trent was going to win that. This time round, it seems a little bit more equal in the two team choices.
And much more preference-based between these two players, as opposed to there being a clear advantage for how Trent had built his squad in the previous matchup. I like both teams, and you might see an informed Kyle Walker because that's how you've been playing at home. A lot of people haven't started using the icons yet, and they have a lot of guys have been using that informed Kyle Walker, both on the competitive end, the intermediate, the beginner. I saw him in a lot of weekend league squads. He's dangerous. As you see the opener.
Just like that, Trent Alexander-Arnold leaving where he left off. In his first game of the day, Zinedine Zidane, he's been one of the new names, Ian, that's popped up in a number of teams over sort of the course of the matches today. Yeah. And just speaking of icons, you're sort of given a lot of love to Ruud Gullit. Sort of the pros, they love R9, they love Ronaldo Nazário. He is the man that scores all the goals. On that list, who else do you look at on that icon list and go, you know what? They're a joy to watch, and they were a joy to watch when they were playing on the real pitch. Well,
to be honest, you know, man, just to see names like Pele, Maradona, you know, so, like for me, when I play my game, I have Maradona in mind just because of how he played, and even when you see the style of how he plays on the game, it looks pretty realistic to how Maradona was. But obviously, it's just like, you know, we're talking about proper unbelievable legends. You know, like Zidane, you know, it's unbelievable. Like even Philipp Lahm, you know, seeing Philipp Lahm, he can play right back, he can play midfield. It's just like brilliant to be able to have those guys in the team. Eusebio, I'm not seeing a lot of people use Eusebio, but unbelievable choices.
They will be using Eusebio. Trust in that. He's always been someone who comes through at all levels. I've actually had the displeasure of going up against Eusebio now for a couple consecutive weekends. It has not gone well.
I mean, it's sort of a list, isn't there? It's all that 5-tier list. Lovely ball into the box, just over the bar. We know how deadly corners can be this year. But yeah, it's sort of your R9 Ronaldo, your Gullit, your Vieira. As you said, Eusebio's normally on the list because he has got a really good weak foot. And then you've got the likes of Johan Cruyff there. But you know, you mentioned it perfectly, Ian. You're looking at, you know, Philipp Lahm, one of the new icons this year. Also, Ashley Cole is one of the new icons that was brought on. You know, it's great to see more English legends make their way onto the icon list. 16 minutes gone, and there's been only one goal to talk about so far. It certainly seems to be the way that Trent Alexander-Arnold does like to play, Mike, scoring early goals. He kept on scoring goals. It was 3 different occasions in that semi-final where he had a 3-goal cushion to hold on to. Could be a second here. Pele finds the cut back in. Zidane, it's a brace for the Frenchman in midfield. Forget R9. It's the Zinedine Zidane show.
They're going to get tighter, man.
You see that running fake shot again, opens up a lane of space, drops it off. If anything, Trent's been extremely clinical. You've got to love that, Ian, because that's what you were kind of complaining about if you were going to be a critic of Gravesen in the previous game, is that he was messing around with it too much in the box. Trent is sitting 2 for 2.
Well, what's going to happen now is that what's happening now that he's gone 2-0 up. You know what I mean? I think it's up to Declan now to make sure that he stops that bleeding a little bit. He's got to at least get a goal and then hope that Gravesen will just be a bit more clinical, because like watching them, and especially with Tekkz, that game now, depending on how many goals Trent scores, is going to be very interesting. That's why Declan, it's imperative that he nicks a goal. Imperative.
You heard it as well from Declan saying a little bit of banter in the England camp. What does that do to the England camp, Ian? We hear it all the time where players have those sort of table tennis games. They play pool against each other, or they will play FIFA against each other, and they have that bragging right. If Trent Alexander-Arnold goes and gets, we're talking 3 or 4 goals here and goes away a bit, England are in action 3 times next month. Is there a chance of some bragging rights in the camp?
Absolutely. his right to as well. And that's why I'm sure Declan would have to think about that. He can't go to the England squad knowing that he's been beaten 3, 4, 5 against Trent. Because if I'm Trent, I'm going to hammer him. Because when you get in that England squad, there's a lot of time and a lot of time to be doing stuff and work and like play time. Obviously, we didn't have as many games as this, but like as good a game as this, I should say. But like the competitive edge to it was just like through the roof. It was unbelievable.
And the beauty here as well, Mike, is that a lot of these guys wouldn't even be able to afford a team like this with all the icons in it. You know, you look at this team and you're starting to price up in the millions.
Oh, the millions is even an understatement. We're talking 30, 40, 50 million coins in order to put together a squad like this. And I think we should give a little credit to Declan as well. He made comebacks against Hakimi. He battled back. He stayed focused throughout that game. It's still very early. We're only in the 32nd minute, even though Trent has been the more clinical, maybe the more deadly in the final third.
It's chance again to find the third if he can. Oh, no, around the corner. First time he's been able to really sting the hands of Declan Rice's goalkeeper. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you there, Mike. Chance coming in once again. He's got to defend this one. Trent loving that byline. And there's the cutback. This time it's Eusebio. Cuts back inside. It's 3-0. And he's just turned into an absolute mountain to climb now for Declan Rice.
Wow. He can't get near him. Can't get close enough. He can't get on the ball long enough, Declan, to kind of like pull him out and pull Trent around the place a bit. He's got to stop this bleeding, man. Make some changes.
Just seems down the byline, Mike Nobel. He's getting a lot of success, isn't he? Sort of faking that run down the byline where he's got so much pace. What a ball that could be into R9. Slightly too heavy, but it's 3 times he's had success just coming down that right-hand side, Mike. Finding the cutback. It's been Zidane. It's been Eusebio. There always seems to be a player that's sort of making that looming run on the edge of the box.
Well, at the end of the day, FIFA's a simple game. You have to have a master of the intangibles, the passing, the build-up play, finding the key areas on the pitch, the spacing. And a lot of us like to overcomplicate it with all the skill moves, but if you don't do the basics right, you're not going to score goals. You're not going to win games.
Just like that. The exact same finish.
Oh, gosh.
Declan Rice can't watch it. He's covering his eyes.
Oh, no, Dex. Oh, no. You know, the thing is that I've seen it in that build-up. You can see the space over on Trent's left-hand side. If Declan can get hold of the ball long enough, he may be able to like penetrate that side because there's a lot of space. It's very narrow at the back, but he doesn't seem to be able to get on the ball long enough to actually hurt Trent.
And the big thing is, at the end of the day, Mike, there's a 3 at the back. There's an overload every single time. There is an overload on the left or the right compared to Declan's 4 at the back. He's having to deal with 2 players every single time, whether it's the full back or whether it's the left back. It's just as simple as that. Well,
it's like what Ian was saying. You need to make adjustments. We've seen 4 goals nearly identical. Run down the end line, fake shot, open up some lanes of space, pull it back, square it. In FIFA, we'd like to call it a sweaty goal, but it's an automatic finish at the end of the day.
I mean, if he goes 4-0, 5-0 down before half-time, this is really going to get out of hand on the finesse. Great
save
from Lev Yashin just to keep him in that game. But if you're 5-0 down at half-time, Ian, I mean, what were you doing? What are you changing?
Well, to be honest, at the end of the day, it's not a case of change. He needs to do something because he needs to get hold of the ball. He needs to start penetrating that. Even if you look at it now, there's so much space there. He needs to get some pace, people going beyond and starting to attack Trent. I don't think Trent's had to do any defending in this game yet.
And to be honest, I just feel like there's an extra 10% on this game, just because obviously both these two young English talent that have come through the ranks, of course, represented both their club and country at such a good level and had so much success over the last couple of seasons. I just feel like Trent's got a little bit in him that he really wants to try and embarrass Declan out here, or at least try and put as many goals past him as possible. We're talking 4-0 at half-time, gentlemen. I know there's a long time left in the game, but 4-0 at half-time, Mike, that's one hell of a scoreline.
Can I just say... Go on, Mike. Go on, Michael.
I think Declan made a mistake where he kind of took a shot saying last time they played, it went in his favor. And surely Trent has not forgotten that. And then you just added a little bit of that salt to the wound. And he is not letting up. He's showing no mercy. 4-0. And I think this could get even uglier.
Yeah. I tend to agree. But Declan needs to find some pride. You know what I mean? He needs to go back to that Tottenham-West Ham game, man. He needs to find that energy.
I mean, one thing we look at on that semi-final, we had a lot of success with Garrincha on the edge of the box. Obviously, the Brazilian icon was able to sort of wrap his leg around a couple of finesse shots. I think he scored 2 or 3 of them. I remember Richard Buckley getting very excited on the goals as we were just watching it in the background. He just hasn't been able to do that this time round. You normally edge of the box, there's a finesse there that has been open. We need to see, he needs to get his goalie off corners first and foremost. Declan, get your goalie off the corners. If you're asking to concede 5 or 6, that is not the way to do it. And again, it's just like that. It's in 2 passes. What's that back post? There's a ball waiting to be played. He's just got his passes confused. It's not great from the fullback either.
It's this area here now. This is where he needs to. He needs more. Look, there's not enough support around him. All right, see, Trent, man, and it's really weird because even at the half time, it's the first time I see smiling. So he's obviously very comfortable.
To be fair, one thing we haven't seen yet, Mike, is more of a sort of tactical change formation-wise, whether that's in-game custom tactics, get that depth higher, maybe constant pressure on heavy touch, just small little interchanges. I know they don't naturally always come to someone that doesn't play a lot of FIFA, but just if you can, get a pro that's with you, just to give you a little nudge and say, come on, change this, get your players a little bit higher up the pitch.
Yeah.
Because time's running out.
Yeah, I was wondering if we're going to get a Gravesen halftime talk here. Maybe he's dropping some text messages, let's make adjustments. Well, I was expecting to see some team press just to disrupt the pace, because all of this is in a flow or a free flow that very much so favors Trent, and that's why he's been able to score the goals, make consistent chances.
Chance. Could be a goal back for him. Fantastic block at the back.
See, that's the play. That's the one. That's the place. That's the place to hit them. That's the place to hit Trent. The main thing now is to make sure that he doesn't let the game totally run away from him, so he can give Gravesen a chance to get back in it. Gravesen's going to have to be clinical now.
And let's not forget who Gravesen is playing against, gentlemen, in the grand final. He's playing against Tekkz, one of the most successful players in the last couple of years, achieved so much, won so much, and if there's anything to go by on his last performance, this man ran the box is so deadly. Could be 5, it will be 5, and to be honest, I don't see 5 goals coming in the second leg from Gravesen, in all honesty.
Wow.
Yeah, Declan's not living this down. You said this was going to carry over to the locker room.
Yeah.
I feel as if Trent's going to supply him with a controller as a gift every morning when they go to training.
It's just
a friendly reminder. Just a friendly reminder.
What's really frightening right now is to look at how Trent is still got the 1,000-yard steer on. He's not even. You'd think it's still 0-0. This is what my grandson does to me.
I mean, if you were in this duo and you're in this situation, let's pretend that a ball has not even been kicked. Would you rather be playing first in the first leg or playing in the second leg?
Me personally. What you mean? You're asking me?
Yes. Yeah. If you were playing,
I'd probably want to have played the first leg, and if that's the case, I'd be a little bit more defensive to leave it for Gravesen to do his stuff. But maybe, I don't know, Declan might have thought that he could take Trent on and head to head, but like we're looking at it now and we're seeing that that's not the case. So he needs to, like I say, he needs to give Gravesen a chance to get back in it by not conceding anymore, or at least getting a couple.
It's a strange double-edged sword with that question in some regard, because I would love to play second if the game was drawn even, or if I was the only down a goal maybe in the partnership. But in this type of circumstance where you have to shift everything you're going to do, he doesn't, like, Gravesen can't play with his natural gameplay style. He's thinking right now, okay, I'm going to have to start with 3 at the back. I'm going to probably have to play with a team press. I'm going to be extremely aggressive in order to give myself a chance to score goals at a high enough rate to put us back into the game. So he's not able to go with his normal game plan. And if you saw the first game where Gravesen went up against Levy, it was more defensive and controlled than we've seen in some of these previous FIFA games.
There's a cutback and there's a chance.
Yes.
I mean, even a goal like that helps massively into that second leg.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, if he can get one more as well, 3 goals is something that we see turned around all the time, even at the competitive level.
I mean, especially on FIFA 21 as well, Mike. I can tell you we're going to see a lot of them this year, those 3-game, sort of the 3-goal cushions that are just easily turned over. But you saw it a couple of times there. There's clearly been some sort of tactical change. The press on heavy touch, there's a constant pressure that is seeming to be implied. There was a couple of chances. Neymar had a half chance. Keeper came off his line. Bullet also had a chance. And then eventually, Lothar Matthäus, of all people, getting a goal. And if your scorers aren't, if your strikers should sound getting on the score sheet,
look,
someone's got to get on there. This could be an unbelievable chance to pull the game back. What I was about to say before I probably cursed is, it's rarely you see a clean sheet, Mike, on FIFA 21.
I mean, I kept stats from the last 30 games I've played. I'm averaging conceding like 1.4 or 1.5 goals per game, and that's with a majority of wins, you know, in the last weekend league. So I would agree completely. It's just so much risk and reward in this game, and going for it and starting your offensive attacks, you kind of have to. But when you do that, of course, you can get caught out.
Right defensive header there from. Now,
I
if
need
you
another
have just
goal,
joined us, this is the FIFA 21 challenge. We're in the grand finals. This is our first leg. Currently 5-1. Trent Alexander-Arnold does lead. There is a second leg. It's an aggregate scoreline that will go over for Fnatic's Tekkz against Ducks Gaming Gravesen. Gravesen obviously would have to walk his scoreline, which is no easy feat against the player. Tekkz' quality. Could be worse, though. Could be another goal to concede, and maybe one chance here. Doesn't come to anything. Added time to follow in just a second. Just get one more chance if he can get the ball on it. That's not going to help him there. Declan Rice, long ball over the top. He's going to gamble on R9 to still do something. But 4-goal cushion, gentlemen. That's massive going into a second leg.
No doubt. And if there's one positive to take from this from Gravesen, Tekkz did look a little shaky defensively in his opening matchup against Mo Albert. So there are goals to be had in that matchup, but I don't know about 4 of them.
I mean, you don't know where to look and you don't know where to laugh, really, in these situations, Ian, do you?
Well, you know what's really good about it is that, you know, at the end of the day, football, you know what I mean? Football's a winner, but I'm sure that Declan must have thought that he would have had a better chance. But Trent's come in and just like literally blasted him.
Tekkz, though, one of the new icons for this year. Is there an England player out there that you would love to see get an icon sort of item one day? It's a difficult question, I know.
It's a very difficult question. Has Paul Scholes got one?
He does. He does indeed.
You know, to be honest, they're kind of covered in respects of the icons. Let me see. Who else could have? Has Tony Adams got one?
He hasn't yet.
Yeah, I'd like to see that, man. He was amazing. Roy Keane?
Yep, he's in the game alongside his handful of likes of Steven Gerrard.
Steven Gerrard. I thought Stevie Gerrard for Lampard had got one.
Rio Ferdinand, of course, in the game. He's
Yeah,
been one
Rio's in the game.
icon, actually.
Yeah, I saw Rio in one of the games earlier on.
I mean, speaking of new icons, Mike, out of the handful that were introduced this year, one of them that you would love in your team if you could?
I mean, I would take Puskas in a heartbeat.
Wow.
I just think he'd be fun to play with. I mean, why not? Give me the skills. Give me the finishing. One of the best goal-scoring records of all time. Yeah, Beckenbauer needs to return to the game. I want him back.
Beckenbauer, man. You know, Rudy Krol. You know, I'd like to see Rudy Krol from Holland. Remember Rudy Krol?
It's a great shout as well. Actually, I have a question for you, Ian. Because we just talked about some of the English players. You've scored a ton of goals throughout your career. And we mentioned Petr Cech and him being now a new icon that has been becoming more frequently used between the top-level players, the guys that can get them. Who was the best goalkeeper you went up against? Who was the guy that you're saying, I'm struggling to finish?
Schmeichel.
You're ready.
Schmeichel, man, that guy, Jesus. I only scored against Schmeichel in friendlies. I remember I scored a really good goal against him in the Charity Shield, the Community Shield. He didn't even move, but he always teased me. He always teases me saying you never scored competitively. But I think David Seaman should be in and around in this game as well, I think. Honestly, he was amazing. An amazing goalkeeper.
Speaking of this game a second, we haven't seen a goal going as of yet. To paint the picture to everyone that has just joined, Tekkz' team, which is, of course, is Trent Alexander-Arnold and Fnatic Tekkz, is leading, as you can see, just under the scoreboard with a very nice scoreline of 5-1. It could have been 5-0 easily. Unfortunately, Declan Rice just couldn't get the ball rolling and couldn't get the ball in the back of the net in that first leg. You heard Tekkz say before the game started, I've just got to be able to keep the ball the best way I can.
Oh, man!
Dancing in the box.
Put it in! Put it in! Oh.
Saw Tekkz on Twitter as well, Mike, after his semi-final saying,
Gravesen's
I can find his skill.
Gravesen's doing skills, man. He needs goals.
Regardless of a win or a loss, Tekkz plays the way that all of us want to play in FIFA. Just the skill combinations and the intricacies and the details and the particulars and the 1-2s and how he reads the game is just so impressive offensively.
Speaking of Gravesen,
wow.
Chance now into the box into Ronaldo. Just forced that one onto the feet of R9, but Ferland Mendy was there to ensure the danger was dealt with. You know, speaking of Tekkz, it's great to see that he's obviously found his rhythm again where he can put out these elasticos and these hill-to-hills and whatever the flick, whatever the skill move, he seems to have it in an abundance.
This is good play.
Neymar does very well. Seems to all be through out wide.
Just throwing it.
Referee says play on Carlos Alberto, the right-back of choice for Gravesen here. I mean, the first goal is everything here, gentlemen. Of course, if Tekkz gets it, it's a 5-goal cushion. We really know it's game over at that point. Long ball over the top. I think he could just be offside. Mbappe slightly too keen off the mark.
Guys, can I throw another name in respect of an icon that maybe could be in and around the game?
Throw it.
Paolo Rossi.
Honestly, it's when you get into discussions like this, there is so many.
Honestly, it's just like Paolo Rossi.
Honestly, there's so many that could obviously pop up and could really feature. And the great thing is, you know, pros then have the opportunity to put them into their teams where some of them, like R9, you'll never find. I don't know in your opinion, Mike, you know, in your eyes, who's the closest player that's come to R9 in the last sort of couple of years?
Wow.
Probably an Mbappe, even though it's not an icon, just in terms of some of the similar traits, being explosive, having the skill moves, also being physical enough and athletic enough to also have that presence that gives you enough balance to play him as a singular striker if you want, or have him as a winger. But when you talk about icons, I've been thinking about this. I want Francesco Totti. That's why I want
Francesco Totti, yeah.
Please put him in the game as soon as possible. I want him in the game.
That's a good shout.
Oh, here we go. Here's Tekkz. This is exactly what he's all about. Neymar with his own trademark of rainbow flick.
Some awesome skills here.
Lovely ball over the top. Gravesen still hunting for that goal. 36 minutes gone in this game. Valuable time already been lost. Zinedine Zidane. I can get the words out of my mouth. Into R9. Chance to Mbappe. There's a goal.
Oh, no.
And there's a little bit of hope. 38 minutes into the time. It's the important goal that's gone in. He's been needing to score the first goal. That is the story that we've been wanting to follow. He has to score the first goal. He has scored the first goal.
He has to play a perfect game, but he's off that start. Now, something that I like that Gravesen did to start out this match, he didn't shift his style. He's not overly ambitious or overly aggressive. I think that he realizes you have time in FIFA, and right now Tekkz is under no pressure. He's still got a big lead. But every time you get another goal back, you start to chisel away. Your opposition then can second guess. Maybe you're not closing out. Maybe you're not as confident. Your pass is a little more hesitant.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Could be a chance. Could call it
off.
Oh,
Fantastic.
there you go. That's not what he wanted to do. He tried to play the offside trap. We know the high risk, high reward strategy that is involved in that. And unfortunately enough, probably say it's going to be game over, and we know where sort of the trophy is going to be going after this one. 5-goal cushion.
I'm very surprised with the playing offside tactic there. You might as well just stay in and stay as close as you can to him rather than giving that opportunity. I knew you had a feeling that Tekkz is going to punish him for that.
Yeah, I'd like to echo off of what you were saying there as well, because you just got the goal back. I was shocked that he went for such a risky. That's the first offside trap he's used in this match. Gets caught out, and now we're talking about game over, wrap it up, start celebrating with Tekkz.
Of course, let's not forget what is on the line, gentlemen. Here, $20,000 to the chosen charity of the winners of the FIFA 21 Challenge. Fantastic cause, and there you go. Half time. Fortunately for Gravesen, it's a 4-goal deficit that he's still behind. It's all smiles in the Fnatic camp. You can see his teammate Harry there just popping in. I mean, Gravesen said it perfectly. Gravesen said it perfectly in his interview before he went into the game. So he said, whoever the teammate is of Harry, I seem to lose, or I seem to sort of not get past him. I mean, don't get me wrong, but unfortunately for Declan, he didn't leave with the best state of mind and the best position in terms of the goals. That's what they're playing for, the lovely virtual trophy of the FIFA 21 Challenge, which I do match to the winners overall in the end. But gentlemen, 4 goals, 45 minutes left. I mean, if there was ever a chance you can't be doing the offside trap, but there's a huge sort of high risk behind that. And also, there needed to be more goals from Gravesen in that first 45.
Yeah, but I thought they started very well because, like, when you saw how Tekkz was playing, he's just keeping the ball, and I think it's definitely up to Gravesen to just try and press and not give anything away, and see if you can nick that goal to just maybe get Tekkz a little bit nervous, and then you could see how it goes from there. Because other than that, it's very comfortable for him. But he needed to keep that clean sheet and nick that second goal. But look at that! Look, unbelievable.
And that's what you need to see. And there's the celebrations.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Oh, no.
What happens in this situation? What happens in this situation is that when you are that comfortable, you can do that stuff, and it's really good to see Tekkz's ability now. This is fantastic.
And at halftime, you may have noticed, but Gravesen adjusted his tactics, went to more of a team press, and right when that space was opened up, he was ready for it. Started off from kickoff, swinging side to side, looking for his gaps, finds the gap, little fake shot, easy finish, 5-star weak foot from R9, back of the net, 5-goal spread, and I'm expecting this to turn into a Tekkz showcase now, where he's going to try to show you all the flicks and the tricks.
Be nice.
For the first time in the game, that 5-goal cushion has been reinstated back to, first time since Trent Alexander-Arnold was leading by 5-0. This is where Tekkz can have a bit of fun now. Expect the skills to come out. Expect the showboat to be ever present. And as you said, Mike, we'll probably be looking at a complication, I should say, of just all of those best moves, all those best chances from Tekkz. Could be a chance. What a tackle at the back. It was a strong one.
Challenge. Great challenge.
We're going back for an offside.
Oh, offside, right.
Of course, though, with the format that we've seen here on the FIFA 21 Challenge, it's
look at that line.
A lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on each matchup. The one thing you do not want to do is pass a game over to your opponent when you've conceded 3+ goals, and unfortunately, that's just what's happened in this final.
It's actually kind of crazy that Tekkz repertoire is so deep with some of the skills. Some of these skills you just never use in competitive play. So the fact that he has it as an instinct or somewhere that he can include it into his gameplay, it's almost as if you're watching someone who is strictly a skiller playing FIFA at the highest level.
And I think that's all you need to see to understand that it's not going to be your final day. Chance off the post there. Any other time you'd expect that to go in the back of the net. Gravesen, maybe he can have his chance at...
Oh, unlucky.
Trying to score goal of the day. I'm sure, Mike LaBelle, you'll be keeping a close eye on what would be your goal of the day. There's been so many to talk about. So many good goals. Chance, Gravesen! Another goal goes in. It might be 2-2 on aggregate in this one. It's still a 4-goal cushion between the two.
That's good. Great played off from Gravesen, that is.
It's the start of the show at Mbappe. And 23 minutes left. Press. Just don't think there is any way back into the tie. We'll see another pause come in now from Gravesen. I mean, at this stage of the game, you're probably thinking, let's just go and have a bit of fun now.
Well, absolutely.
Some new players. Maybe just whack everybody forward and just, as I said, go for goal of the day. Absolutely.
I think that when you look at it, it's just left him a little bit too much. I thought, for me, if with Tekkz, he's trying to maybe trying to get himself back in it, whereas where Trent Alexander was just like going for it, and I think he should have just defended and given Gravesen more of a chance to maybe have a go at Tekkz. But Tekkz is awesome now. We just saw some beautiful skills on the left-hand side just now.
And we often talk about the pace of the game or the rhythm that's involved with playing FIFA at a high level or even an intermediate level or a beginner level. And what's happened here is that Tekkz has done a really good job swinging the ball side to side and then looking for these gaps. He's slowing down the game and then he speeds it up when he gets into the final third.
I think control is the word that we probably use from this second leg from Tekkz. He's controlled the game, and when he's got that 4-goal cushion, you can certainly do that. I definitely agree with you in there. There was a little bit too much to do. The job was slightly too big for Gravesen.
And we're talking about a player of a caliber that he's probably not been in that situation too many times in his career.
Almost definitely. I mean, it's probably the worst opponent you can face when you're 4-0 down.
Yeah. Oh, lovely.
You can see how many blue shirts are forward now, like 6 on every single attack. There will be gaps that will naturally appear. But at the end of the day, he knows it is game over. 4 goals behind. As we said, $20,000 will be awarded to, of course, Fnatic, Tekkz and Trent Alexander-Arnold. They will donate that money to a charity of their choice, alongside being crowned the FIFA 21 Challenge Champions, the opening tournament of the FIFA Global Series. And I mean, in the last 10 minutes, Mike, just a word on the Global Series this year. It looks like a packed year, of course, a different year, but it should still be living up to the same hype with so much more prize money on the line. I think it's an extra $1 million in prizing over the year, plus just so many tournaments still.
Yeah, I'm really happy as someone who's a fan of esports and the competitive ecosystem, just seeing how many different events are happening, how we've been able to adapt in many ways, and then the opportunity for all these pro players. Because you're putting in so much time to the game, and they were even on the trailer side, and you saw the esports pros featured, which is really unique. I've just someone who's played FIFA for well over 15 years now, every single year. As an enthusiast, is the first time they've ever seen the esports guys or the pro players focused on with trailer drops and really being a priority regarding the gameplay and all these different events. So it's cool to see how EA's been able to pivot to have so many different tournaments when we're going through such a critical time with this global pandemic.
And on top of that as well, of course, qualifiers kick off next month in November, then the tournament start flowing all the way up from December onwards. Gravesen gets another one back, still needs 3 goals, and I mean, there's just not enough time here. I mean, looking at sort of how the tournament has played out today, and deserved winners overall?
I'd say, watching the way Trent and Tekkz have played, they've been pretty good. Although I have to say, Gravesen and Declan were very good as well. Akimi was very good, but you know, you give a player like Tekkz that kind of time in respects of that kind of distance, in respects of goals. Beautiful goal there, and you know, I mean, you're going to have a very high hill to climb. So you know, it's been tough on Gravesen. I feel for him. I think that the tactics should have been to keep it down to a minimum. And give him a chance in the second game, you know.
I think there was I think what we said on that, Ian, as well, there was just so much pride, wasn't there, in terms of England against England, 2 teammates there, but it's pretty much job done. Referee, we just got one more free kick to play in, but we know who our FIFA 21 Challenge winners will be. Referee, conclude the game. There we have it. Congratulations to Fnatic, Tekkz, and of course Trent Alexander-Arnold of Liverpool. They will be your FIFA 21 Challenge champions. And it's the perfect start to a busy FIFA Global Series season. $20,000 to a charity of their choice. An incredible scoreline and no reactions at all from those two.